The sky above Seruni village never felt completely dark. Even on moonless nights, stars clung to the sky like quiet thoughts, unmoving but alive. Watching. Remembering. Lira sat cross-legged on the roof of her little blue house, wrapped in a thin blanket. Her hair fluttered gently in the breeze. In her hand, she held a small folded paper. It was old, with soft creases from being opened and closed too many times. The paper read only one thing. "If Mama can still hear me, Lira wants to come home." Lira had never left her home. Not really. But since the day her mother did, not just to the market or the clinic, but to that place no one comes back from, the world had become a little quieter. A little less like home. Every night, she came up here to look at the stars. She didn't wish for toys. Or friends. She wished for answers. For echoes. For a moment where something, anything, would answer back. That night, just past midnight, a star slipped from the sky. It fell fast and silent, like a tear the universe was too proud to speak about. Lira watched it disappear into the dark, and softly closed her eyes. "Please, take it with you." She was about to gather her blanket and climb down when something strange happened. Another light. Not falling this time. Rising. From behind the old teak tree that grew at the back of their garden, a soft golden light began to float upward. Not bright, not glowing like fire or torch, but warm, like the way memories feel when you wake up too early and still remember the dream. Lira turned her body slowly, her heart suddenly still. The golden light drifted higher, gently cutting through the starlit air. It looked like it had been asleep for a very long time, and had only now remembered how to rise. She didn't move. She didn't blink. She only watched. And deep inside, she felt something she hadn't in a long time. Like maybe, this wasn't just a night for sending wishes. Maybe tonight, the sky was sending something back. The garden behind Lira's house was usually just weeds, silence, and the sound of frogs. But tonight, it breathed. The golden wisp floated a few inches above the tall grass, swaying gently as if the air itself was whispering to it. It didn't spin, didn't flicker like a flame. It pulsed, slow and steady, like a heartbeat made of memory. Lira had climbed down from the roof without thinking. She now stood barefoot in the cool grass, her blanket still wrapped around her, the little folded paper clutched in one hand. She didn't call out. She didn't dare. Her eyes locked on the light. It was beautiful. Not in a dazzling way, but in the kind that made your throat feel tight, like when someone remembers your name when you thought they'd forgotten. Slowly, she knelt. The grass brushed her knees, the earth damp and alive beneath her. The wisp floated closer. And Lira reached out. She didn't touch it. She didn't need to. It was enough to be near. And in that nearness, something happened. A sound. Not from outside, but inside her. Like a soft echo of her own voice. Not words. Just feeling. And suddenly, Lira knew. This wasn't a star. It was a message. Something, or someone, had sent it back. From where? From the same place she had always been sending her wishes. And now, it had come to find her. The wisp began to move again, slowly, floating toward the teak tree, then upward, into the air, as if it was inviting her to follow. And though her heart beat fast, her feet stepped forward. Because for the first time in all her wishing, the sky was opening. The wisp rose slowly above the teak tree, its glow soft and steady like a lantern held by something invisible. Lira stood still beneath it, her feet buried in the cool garden soil, the folded paper still clutched in her hand. She didn't know if she was dreaming. She didn't care. The air around the tree shimmered gently. And then, something opened. Not like a door with hinges. Not like a crack in space. But more like, the night took a breath, and a seam of light parted in the sky. From within that glow, a shape stepped forward. Not large. Not loud. It floated, barely above the ground, wrapped in quiet silver and soft shadow. Its face was smooth like glass, but somehow familiar. Like the shape of a lullaby. Like the sound of someone you once knew well, even if you couldn't remember their name. The being's presence did not frighten Lira. It felt gentle. Like it had waited a very long time to meet her. It raised its hand, or what resembled one, and the golden wisp circled between them before settling softly in the space between Lira and the figure. Then, without speaking, it turned and drifted toward the seam of light beneath the sky, the shimmering door, and paused. Waiting. Lira looked at her hand. At the paper. At the house behind her. Then, slowly, she folded the paper one last time, and tucked it into the grass. She stepped forward, toward the light, and the night did not resist. The light didn't burn. It didn't blind. It simply welcomed. Lira stepped through the glowing arch with slow, barefoot steps. Her fingers still tingled from the warmth of the paper she had left behind, now nestled in the grass like a folded goodbye. What met her inside was not space. Not sky. Not a dream. It was a gallery. Endless halls of floating lights. Each light gently pulsing, suspended in midair, some small as pebbles, others large as lanterns. They drifted softly, like they were breathing. Lira looked around. There were no walls, no ceiling, no ground, only a soft golden mist that carried everything in silence. The silver figure floated beside her. Though it had no face, Lira felt its presence as kindly and calm. Then one of the floating lights drifted toward her. She reached out. It hovered just above her palm. And when she let it settle, it opened. Not like paper. Not like sound. But like memory. She saw a boy kneeling in a forest, holding a wooden flute he never learned to play. A grandmother holding a letter she never sent. A child reaching for a balloon they let go too early. The moments weren't hers, but they felt like echoes she somehow recognized. "This place," she whispered. "It keeps them all." The silver being didn't speak, but the wisp pulsed once, as if answering. Yes. All the things never said. All the love never spoken. All the words too late. And they didn't vanish here. They waited. In quiet, glowing stillness. Waiting to be remembered. Waiting to be released. And Lira realized. She had entered the place where forgotten wishes rest. And maybe, just maybe, hers had never been alone. Lira moved slowly through the glowing hall, where the air itself felt like breath. She passed memories held in light. A father waiting by a window that never opened, a little girl hiding a drawing in a book no one ever read, a dancer who never stepped on stage. Each one flickered gently as she passed, as if recognizing her presence. Then, one orb moved. Not toward her, but around her. It circled once, twice, and stopped, just above her heart. Lira reached out, her palm trembling. The orb settled in her hand. Its light was softer than the others. Warm, but not golden. More like the color of late afternoon, when everything feels quieter. She looked into it, and saw herself. Small, barefoot, standing by her mother's chair. Her mother, alive, was brushing Lira's hair gently, smiling in a way only Lira had seen. The soundless image played like a dream she thought she'd forgotten, the kind you wake up from and immediately miss. Lira fell to her knees. The orb pulsed once. Not in a way that asked for attention, but in a way that said, "You remember, and so do I." Tears welled in her eyes, not from sadness, but from something quieter. Something sacred. Because some memories are not lost. Not broken. Not gone. They are simply waiting, for the right moment to be seen again. Lira held the orb close to her chest. And for the first time since her mother left, she didn't feel alone. Lira sat for a long while, her knees drawn close, the memory orb resting silently in her lap. Around her, the gallery of lights shimmered, but none moved. None needed to. For once, she wasn't searching. She was remembering. Then the silver figure approached, no footsteps, no sound. Just presence. The golden wisp floated back into view, dancing softly between them. It paused in front of Lira and pulsed once. Then again. Then a third time, brighter, like a heartbeat responding to her own. Suddenly, a light appeared in front of her. Not an orb. Not a memory. But a mirror. It rose from the mist, like it had always been there, waiting. The frame was made of starlight, but its surface shimmered like still water. Lira leaned forward. And instead of her reflection, she saw her mother's handwriting. The words she had longed to read. Not a reply, not a sentence, but one small thing she had almost forgotten. Her name, written the way only her mother used to write it. The L curved gently like a leaf. The A always had a tiny extra loop at the end. It was real. It was hers. And it glowed softly on the surface, like a memory finally sent home. Lira brought her fingers to the glass, but it shifted. Now, it showed her face. And then, the words she had whispered on the rooftop that night. "If Mama can still hear me." They were floating beside her reflection now. Still unfinished. The wisp glowed again. It was asking, would she like to finish the message? Lira closed her eyes, took a breath, and without speaking, she placed her palm gently on the mirror. A warm light pulsed out from her touch, not outward but inward, like her wish had been gently accepted and folded back into the sky. When Lira lifted her hand from the mirror, the light slowly dimmed, not vanishing, but folding inward, like breath returning home. The silver figure floated closer. The golden wisp pulsed once, then twice, and for the first time, moved ahead, as if inviting her to follow deeper into the mist. So she did. Her steps were light, almost floating. She passed more orbs, more echoes, but none called to her now. She had already found what she didn't know she was searching for. Then the mist parted, and she stepped into a space unlike the gallery. It looked like a field, endless, silent, filled with tall grass that shimmered like threads of memory, swaying in a wind she couldn't feel. Above her, the sky glowed, not with stars, but with moments. She saw them moving gently through the sky, like constellations made of time. Her mother laughing beside a lake. Her father carrying her on his shoulders in a storm. A birthday candle blown out before she could even make a wish. The sky wasn't made of stars. It was made of remembrance. And in the middle of it all, above her, one light burned steady. Her wish. The one she whispered on the rooftop. It was still there. Still alive. But now, it was no longer alone. It shimmered beside another light, a softer one. Her mother's. And together, the two lights spiraled once. Then began to slowly descend. Lira raised her hand. And the light came to rest in her palm, no longer a message, but a meeting. A quiet merging of something sent and something answered. And when she closed her fingers, the warmth did not leave. It stayed inside her. The field began to fade, not disappear, but dissolve, like the end of a song that never needed to be loud. Lira stood quietly as the golden mist thinned around her, the warm lights in her hands slowly fading into her chest, as if they had always belonged there. The silver figure floated a little closer, then bowed its head slightly, a gesture not of farewell, but of gratitude. The golden wisp danced once around her before rising upward, becoming one with the soft sky. Then, the seam of light, the doorway she had entered, opened once more. Lira turned to look back only once, and stepped through. She was in the garden again. The grass wet with morning dew. The teak tree still leaning slightly. And above her, a pale pre-dawn sky stretched wide and quiet. The stars had nearly vanished, all but one. A single light lingered just above the horizon. And then, it fell. But not fast. Not harsh. It drifted, soft and slow, like it had remembered the way. Lira tilted her head, watching as it traced its path across the sky. This one didn't need a wish. It was the wish. And for the first time, she didn't feel like asking the sky for anything. Because it had already answered. Lira turned toward her house, her bare feet silent on the grass. But in her heart, a soft light remained. Not bright. Not fading. Just forever.